Hi, I'm Gene Metcalf, Golden Touch Therapy Incorporated, and I've been doing neuromuscular activation therapy for 26 years. I work on the symptoms, then I work on the root cause of those symptoms, so that if they have low back issues, they could be coming from their quads, their groin muscles, their psoas, right in here. So there's one shoulder that's higher, one leg that's longer, and I actually take care of those kind of issues. And that's how I've helped Jamie become at his next level. Then these are the nerves for that flow into from the neck and the possible side effects. Rib cage here, it flows into these areas, possible side effects. Low back flows into these areas, possible side effects. So I actually get all this and enhance the performance. It's symptom specific, injury specific, and sport specific.
My name's Jamie Sterling, and I'm 38 years old, and I'm from the North Shore of Oahu in Hawaii. I'm sitting here in Gene Metcalf's office. He's a Golden Touch Therapy, and I've known Gene for about 13 years now, back to about 2007. Just been really enjoying the benefits of Gene's magical hands. He's got really strong hands. Gets in there. He's helped me through major injuries. Helped me just basically encompass my whole curriculum of training, not only physical but also the recovery process of, after training and leading up to big wave expeditions that I go on all over the world. So it's been a great relationship, and it's been great to have somebody like Gene who's a healer in my repertoire of things that I do on a monthly or daily basis.
When did you start actually surfing for Red Bull as your main sponsor?
Red Bull was back in when I was like 19 years old. So I'm 38 now, so
wow.
quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I was with Red Bull for about 14 years.
Wow, okay.
So
cool.
Basically most of my career.
Who were some of the other sponsors?
GoPro cameras
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they made a big push back in 2008 with me. Yeah, I was one of the first surf athletes for the GoPro camera. Local shaper here in San Diego, Rusty Priestendorfer, for number of years, back since like 2005. I have my Two Sweatsuits, another San Diego company. Future Fins, also long-time sponsor. I'm still with them. Well, nowadays I have my own CBD company.
CBD, cool.
Yeah, full spectrum CBD oil.
Nice.
Tincture that I'm involved in, and tourist that comes to Hawaii that wants to go surfing and experience the ocean and take people out. That'd be great. Can't wait to get you on a board. A little bit of training, and I'll do the rest. I'll take care of the rest.
All right. So how many countries have you surfed in?
Oh, I don't know offhand of what the actual number is, but I've surfed in most countries throughout the world. Been fortunate to travel the world for the last 20 years. Surfing being the key to that. The more knowledge you have, the more the ocean looks kind of like you can get in flow with that, and then you get into that flow state that athletes get into.
Okay.
And
cool.
And that's what really that's when the level of surfing, my abilities come out, and that's maybe what separates me from a novice or amateur surfer to a professional level surfer.
Tell me more about how you analyze the waves.
Yeah, there's definitely leading up to it, about 7 days out, 4 days out, 3 days out. You're analyzing it via the internet websites, weather websites, calculating winds and tides. And
tell me more about that, because I know
swell periods. Well, it's a bit of science involved, and we're relying on these expert surf forecasters that give us this template on the internet, whether it be Surfline or stormsurf.com, various websites, and I just try to take an average. I look at one website may be calling it 5 feet bigger, one website might be calling it 5 feet less, and some websites call it higher, some call it lower. So you just kind of average it out, get a good idea. But really, once it's the day of arrival, when that swell actually arrives, it's get down to the beach in person, and that's really your true indication of what you're going to go into in the next 10 minutes. So it depends on the season. So in our northern hemisphere season that we're in currently, we get all the North Pacific swells.
Okay, all right.
So those swells are generated usually coming from Japan across the Pacific, moving towards Hawaii, and passing Hawaii to the United States. Sometimes they come straight down, sort of from Alaska down to us, and then so we'll get those north swells in the winter months, and then summer months it switches to southern hemisphere. We get swells originate down in in Chile for the Pacific Ocean and come up the coast to Mexico to California.
It's so
to
so
Hawaii.
intriguing. So
So it depends on season, what season you're in, and of course, generally winter months, depending on what hemisphere you're in. The winter months will generally create the bigger swells that a big wave surfer is looking for.
Right.
So all swells originate from a high velocity wind. So a low pressure forms, and the lower the pressure is, the tighter the storm will be. So anything under 1,000 MBS, which is like the wind fetch, the lower the pressure is, the tighter the storm is. So you're going to get a stronger storm.
oh, okay.
And then that's going to deliver a longer swell period. Swell period is the distance between each swell.
Okay.
So the longer the swell period is, 14 seconds and above, is going to make a ground swell. And that's the stronger swell. So anything in that like 16 to and above is a really kind of a bigger swell.
Oh, okay.
Something that we're looking at.
All right.
Up into the 20-second realm, and
Oh,
that's
wow.
really XXL size. And then anything under 14 seconds, the low pressure won't be as low. It'll probably be somewhere about 1,200, 1,500.
Oh, okay.
And then that'll create 14 seconds or less.
Okay.
And that's a shorter period between each swell.
Right. That's interesting. I
So
really
that's
like that.
and then you gotta tie. You also got to factor in what the tides are going to be doing in the area you're going to be in, and then of course the wind direction. That's also key, because you could have a big swell with onshore wind, which is no good, and you want more of that offshore wind flow that's going to create clean conditions.
Right.
Or no wind at all, which is really nice too. Glassy waves.
See, I appreciate you explaining that, because I've always wondered how that works, summer versus winter, and where they start, where they originate. So, what is the longest wave you've caught? I've heard that in Fiji and some of those other places, you can go for a quarter of a mile. Is that correct on a huge wave?
Yeah, spots like Cloudbreak in Fiji. It's definitely probably one of the longer ocean waves.
That has to be quite a ride.
That we can surf.
That has to be pretty exciting.
It's amazing, yeah. But actually, my longest wave was actually not on the ocean. It was in a river.
What?
In China.
No way.
Surfing the tidal bore in China,
Wow.
which is it's connected to the China Sea up the Zhangtang River.
Huh.
And on a high tide, really high tide, the water flows from the sea up through the river and creates a moving wave.
Nice.
That goes for about 90 minutes upriver.
What?
Through a
90
metropolis,
minutes?
through a huge metropolis Chinese city.
Wow.
And you're constantly riding this wave.
And how wide is the river at that point?
The river is a big river. It's about probably a mile wide.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
Shoreline gets overwhelmed with a lot of water? Or?
Oh yeah. You definitely stay away from the banks, because the
Okay.
river banks are very dangerous.
Okay.
But yeah, the water is flowing up onto the sidewalks,
Mm.
and you definitely can get washed out if you're too close. If you're a
Yeah,
spectator watching, you want
Tsunami?
you want to stay back.
Yeah.
But in the middle of the river is safe, and that's where we're usually at.
Okay.
And we just kind of follow the wave via the wave runners, the jet skis.
Yeah.
So it's a partner thing. It's the Chinese government with Glenn Brumman, she's up in San Clemente. He helped organized it. And I've been going for about almost 10 years now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yearly?
Yearly, yeah. It's a yearly thing
Wow.
that takes place in September.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
cool.
so yeah, talking about length of ride, that's you can't beat that. That's constant.
That's
That was a trip that was organized through Red Bull back in the day, and we scouted it out via seaplane in the summer months. Just found our location, found the spot we'd like to surf, and then we went back in the winter
awesome.
and got some really fun waves. Actually, like overhead swell that was a very unique experience, because you're surfing on fresh water in the lake, and it's very cold out, so you have to gotta be brave enough to get out there just to
Yeah,
battle
the
this.
7 mil wetsuit,
7
right?
mil wetsuits and boots and gloves, and
Wow.
it's cold enough to have water freezing on your hood.
Yeah, I remember a picture of like bangs, but only there were miniature icicles
Yeah.
coming down to your eyes.
Yeah, so those are definitely some of the weirdest waves, as far as China and Lake Superior that I've encountered.
There's more exciting waves he's been on around the world.
Yeah, so my most exciting probably waves and biggest waves I've caught have been in Hawaii as well as here on the West Coast, up at like Mavericks or up in Oregon.
What about Todos Santos?
I've caught in some big waves there as well. Yeah, definitely. So between Todos, Mavericks, a spot up at Nell Scott Reef in Oregon, which is in Lincoln City, Oregon, and then out on the North Shore of Oahu, we have outer reefs that we surf regularly. My biggest wave's probably been about 70 foot or so on the outer reefs on the North Shore of Oahu.
That's awesome.
That was not paddled into, that was towed into with the jet ski.
Sure.
That was probably a spot called Outer Log Cabins. I've surfed, Mavericks regularly. One year I got third place out there. Nowadays I go up to Nell Scott Reef in Lincoln City, Oregon, just because Mavericks has become pretty crowded these days, and Oregon's kind of like the next frontier, so to speak.
Cool.
And I surf out there a lot, and that wave gets huge. I've gotten some really giant waves out there as well. In the summer months, though, I go down to Mexico. I've been going to Puerto Escondido for 20 plus years, and I spend summer months there, and I surf some really pretty big waves, maybe not 50, but probably around like 30, but it gets really hollow there, so we're doing a lot of barrel riding down there.
Wow.
And going in the tube, we call it, right in the tube, the green room.
Oh yeah.
It's probably the pinnacle of any surfer's dream is to be in the barrel, and that place really offers me a chance to ride big waves, but also get a lot of barrel time down there. And
how big of a barrel have you been in?
In Mexico or just in general? Chopo.
Nice.
Back in the early 2000s.
Where's Chopo?
Chopo is in Tahiti and down in Fiji as well. Fiji is really, really great for barrel riding.
Awesome. Cool. So tell me, which barrel were you in when your right shoulder got pulled out?
Actually was not in the barrel. I got injured when I dislocated my right shoulder.
Right.
I was surfing Waimea Bay when that happened, and ended up.
How big were the waves?
The wave wasn't a huge wave. It was probably like a 30-foot wave or so. What happened was my nose curled on the face, so my board was a little too big for the curvature of the wave, and the nose hit. And when that happens, it's kind of like going over the front of your handlebars on a bike. You just kind of fly over your board, off your board, and I had my right hand out, and my body went forward, and my hand got ripped back. And by that momentum, it just dislodged my shoulder. And that was probably the most traumatic injury I've experienced on my career so far.
Right. I heard your buddies had to come over and get you back on the board because you had couldn't move your arm at all.
Yeah, arm was not mobile at that point. I had to get some assistance to get into the beach. Friends and lifeguards get me out of there safely. Had a good 6-month rehabilitation of getting stronger. And
I met some of the guys that did the rehab.
And you were part of the hands, so to speak.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're recovering from something, it's good to have a diverse repertoire. Well, it started off just by going to a physical therapist at first, just learning basic movements again and getting the mobility back. Just simple movements, and then I worked on a little bit of strength. But then I was also doing acupuncture. I was doing rolfing. I was doing polarity therapy. I was doing chiropractic, yoga, and stretching, and good diet, nutrition. Awesome. And then I came to see you.
Worked on you 4 hours.
Yeah.
2 sessions.
Yeah, 2 sessions.
Yeah.
And then not long after that, I went down to Peru as an alternate, meaning I wasn't on the main list, but if one of the guys on the main list couldn't make it, I would take his spot. I ended up getting in the contest via alternate spot.
And your first place.
And I won first place, and then that was the starting campaign to my world title.
Cool. How big were the waves in Peru? Do you recall at all?
The waves were about probably 40 foot on the sets.
Okay.
Yeah. 2010, 2011, I won a world title for the Big Wave Tour.
How much is it nowadays?
Now they're giving $100,000 out.
What?
Yeah.
Get back into it. You go to.
I'd love to.
Anyone your age?
Greg Long still having a crack at it. I would say Greg is probably one of the oldest guys still.
All right.
Still in the mix. Him and Ian Walsh. Yeah. So in 2007, I was referred to Gene Metcalf at Golden Touch Therapy via some friends up in Carlsbad. Scott Chandler, also a big wave surfer from San Diego, and And another friend of ours, Jim Curry, referred to me to come see Gene, 13 years ago, and here I am in 2020, January 20th, having my latest appointment today.
Okay. That's fine. He recently tore his bicep tendon on his left arm, and we got to take care of his sciatica on the left side. I checked the posture, so stand straight, Jamie. Check the clavicle, come out to the shoulder joints. So this one's higher, this one's shorter. That means he has a curve this way between his scapula.
Patients with
Okay. No? Okay.
how it falls off though, like this is a healthy bicep.
Oh, wow. Full
see that.
form here, and then this one drops off where he had the tear.
Right.
Right.
But it's not bothering performance.
Okay. So 1 to 10, what are you feeling here? 10. Awesome again. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.